This video will analyse the truth behind this meme. How accurate is it? Having analysed both ideologies, Confucianism and Daoism, and the lives of their founders, I'm in a good position to comment on the validity of this meme. It is going to get the very serious treatment that it deserves. The meme depicts a hypothetical meeting between an aging Zhuangzi, the second articulator of what has become known as Daoism, who appears happily to be with the butterflies and frogs, and Confucius is angrily berating him on the left. I see one of you has scrawled angry teeth, knitted eyebrow, and added a pair of nerdy glasses to his visage. He is exclaiming in anger, "You can't just equalize all things by multiplying perspectives." This seems to be in reference to equalizing assessments of things, which is a philosophical concept associated with the Daoist text, the Zhuangzi. The idea of viewing all things as fundamentally equal and interconnected without assigning inherent value or hierarchy to any particular object. Essentially, it's seeing everything as part of a larger, fluid, transforming process. It emphasizes the perspectives that our individual judgments and distinctions are subjective and should be transcended in order to understand the interconnectedness of existence. The reality is that Confucius fundamentally would not really care about such an attitude being expressed. In reality, he would ignore such a retreating into a cave or living a hermetic lifestyle. His focus was really more on describing how it is to be moral in governance, starting off with essentially an attitude of kindness, Run. He goes on to say, "You are undermining the way of the Zhou. No." And this is true, he certainly did hold the Zhou dynasty in high regard. After all, the Zhou held the states behind the walls in order for almost 400 years. There was much to admire in this. In the Analects, Confucius repeatedly references the Dao in moral, that is, the Dao of the Daoism, Dao De Jing, in moral action, just as the first Daoist did, Laozi and Zhuangzi, the one referenced here. He saw himself as following their path, but rather in governance instead of withdrawing. And on the right, the conversation partner who has enraged Confucius is Zhuangzi off with the fairies here, depicted with the famous butterfly of which he is said to have had a dream. Or is it that he was a butterfly dreaming of being a person? This anecdote, among many others, are scattered throughout the Zhuangzi and serve as stratagems for helping one view things from another angle or outside oneself, as one might say, multiplying perspectives. Zhuangzi smiles and replies at the angry Confucius, "Pipes of heaven go whoosh." Clearly this infuriates his conversation partner, who seemingly cannot comprehend of his detached attitude. The reference to the pipes of heaven comes specifically from Book 2, verse 1 of the Zhuangzi, whereby a conversation is being depicted between a man called Ziyu and a man called Ziqi, and I quote, "Nan Guo Ziqi was seated, leaning forward on his stool. He was looking up to heaven and breathed gently, seeming to be in a trance and to have lost all consciousness of any companion. His disciple, Yan Cheng Ziyu, who was in attendance and standing before him, said, 'What's all this? Can the body be made to become thus, like a withered tree, and the mind become like slaked lime? His appearance as he leans forward on the stool today is such as I never saw him have been before in the same position.' Ziqi said, 'Yan, you do well to ask such a question. I had just now lost myself, but how should you understand it? You may have heard the notes of man, but have not heard those of earth. You may have heard of the notes of earth, but have not heard those of heaven.' This cryptic message is a good summary of the ideology of the Daoists, which can be hard to pin down, since ultimately they are approaching a different question from Confucius. Whereas Confucius focuses on how to be good, the Daoist, like in this quote of the leaning Ziqi, so relaxed that he appears to have even forgotten who is with him, focus on how to be. Therefore, because of the exaggerated portrayal of Confucius, who in reality would ignore such a hermit, but accurate portrayal of Zhuangzi, off with the butterflies and frogs, I rate this meme a 4 out of 5 for accuracy.